everyone, welcome to Cultureminds. My name is Sharnade George and I am the founder of Cultureminds. For those who are not aware about what I do, I am a therapist and I'm here to help end the stigma and misconception about mental health difficulties. So today I have a very special guest joining us, here to share her story about her mental health difficulty. She is a TV presenter, radio presenter. She has worked on channels such as The Wall of Comedy, Link Up TV, Grime Daily, and MTV. And she also has had the opportunity to interview Idris Elba, Dwayne Johnson, 50 Cent, and so much more. Please welcome Nush Cope.
Hello.
Hi. So thank you for coming.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. This is so exciting.
Good.
Happy to be here.
Good. So normally you're doing interviews.
Yes.
What does it feel like to be sitting here being interviewed today?
It's really weird, actually. I'm never in this position. I feel like I need to have my notes and I need to be asking you questions. But no, it's actually quite nice. I can just sit back and relax and hopefully, instill some interesting thoughts.
Good. I'm sure you will. So, is this the first time you've been involved in conversation about mental health?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the first time I have spoken about it with anyone apart from my poor friends and family.
Okay.
I don't usually open up in public, really. I don't think many people do. And I feel like I'm a bit wary of opening up about mental health because I know that everyone deals with things in different ways and I don't want to offend anyone by saying the wrong thing or I mean I'm very open, especially like on social media, like I'm very open with people about the kind of reality of life and how what you see online isn't actually how it is. So I'm open about that stuff and I would like to be more open about mental health, but I think I'm just scared of the stigma around it, so I haven't really done so before.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm sure you do well. You feel comfortable. This is a safe space for you to relax. You're going to be empowering.
I like your voice.
Thank
I
you.
feel like it's really calming and
That's
soothing.
good. That's the atmosphere I want to create.
Yeah, I'm feeling very relaxed.
Good. And you're going to be empowering so many people. So, what you're doing, you already do amazing things. So today, feel comfortable, feel relaxed. You're going to be great. Okay. So you mentioned about stigma. Do you think that attitudes towards mental health have changed?
Yeah, I think it's getting there.
Okay.
It's definitely opened up a lot. I think with the rise of social media, I think social media I usually ask this question quite a lot actually when in my work to try and find out, people's thoughts about it. But, whether or not social media is having a positive or negative effect on our mental health. Because obviously, well, not social media, but just the internet in general, because, there's been the rise of all these amazing apps that help towards your mental health, whether that's meditation or little things that help you in day-to-day life. But, it's also created this huge insecurity from people because of social media and comparing yourself to other people and other people's lives. So it is a bit of a catch-22. It's it's got some really good points, but it's also creating a lot more mental health issues than there were. But I think people are slowly starting to open up about that. The other day, Maya Jama posted something on her Insta story talking about a mental health issue that she's been struggling with. And I think for people to see that and realise that, all these amazing people doing sick stuff that look like they're doing incredibly actually do struggle with these things as well. So I think it's changing. I think there needs to be more focus on men as well, because I feel like with women, we talk to our friends, we open up a lot more, we're more in touch with our emotions, whereas men are totally hounded to be, to man up and to be strong and to be hard, put up a hard front, but actually it's important to talk about stuff. So I think the focus needs to be especially on men, but in general, more so than it is now. It's getting there.
It's getting there. Slowly but
like
surely.
everything is getting there. It's just you know, snail's pace, but
That's good.
better
Yeah.
than nothing.
But yeah, it's better than nothing. At least we're kind of moving in the right direction.
Yeah, and people like you, like who set up
Thank
these
you.
platforms like this, you know, this sort of thing has never happened before. You don't see content like this, people being open and honest. So hopefully,
Fingers
this
crossed.
will encourage others too.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. Okay, and a bit of a controversial question, but do you feel that the government is doing enough to support mental health?
No.
No.
You're mad. Doing anything, it's rubbish. I used to work in healthcare, comms, and PR, and I used to work with a lot of clients within primary care and pharmacy, and I understood quite a lot with what was going on with the NHS budgets and where they were allocating their resources. Nothing goes to mental health. Nothing at all. It's really bad, and because it's not a physical thing and you're not dying on the spot, they just turn a blind eye to it.
Yeah.
It's just not fair, or they'll, you know, put you on a waiting list to see a therapist, you know, which probably take a few years to get to get on, and then by the time, you know, you actually do, you know, well, from what I've heard from my friends who have done it, it doesn't actually help because, you know, you're not going to click with every therapist as well.
Yeah.
You know, you'll see someone, talk to them and think, actually, that's made everything a lot worse, and then you'll find someone who you click with and it changes your life. So, you know, services need to be a lot more flexible, a lot more joined up as well. So we need to, I think, from what you see at your GP to pharmacy to actually mental health services, they all need to be more joined up so that we can get the right care. Like, you know, there's way too many cases of, oh, well, just prescribe you some little happy pills and that will make you happy. It's not going to make you happy. So there needs to be, but I don't think it's necessarily the government that has to do it as well. I think there are ways that we can, as a society, whether that's through, you know, apps or talking to each other or communicating, that we can actually deal with a lot of these issues ourselves. I don't think we have to go and see someone. But we're just not open about it, so we don't know. We all struggle with the same stuff, but no one knows about it.
Everyone's keeping quiet.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there's this really beautiful story. I've done the New Year's resolution to start reading more news, but I never read the news because it's always so depressing, and there's never any positive or, you know, good news. So I've been kind of like trying to find good news out there, and I found a really amazing story about Zimbabwean grandmothers who have set up a little scheme where they have put benches outside a hospital or some sort of community area, and they encourage people to go and sit on the benches and talk to them. And it's just a small way of getting people to open up and talk about mental health issues. And just little community projects like that are just, you know, incredible, and that sort of thing that we can do without, you know, the permission or the need of the government. So again, it's just opening up and talking about it.
Yeah, definitely opening up. That's a major key in kind of letting people know that, you know, you're not alone in this.
Exactly.
And I also experience it because with mental health, everyone experiences it, and sometimes people have a misconception about mental health, and they think that you need to look a certain way, behave a certain way to have a mental health difficulty. But by you being here today, we can show them that, you know, although the stereotypical way people think, we can kind of change that and let them know that I don't have to look like this or behave like this to have a mental health difficulty.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. So you work in the media and entertainment industry.
Yes.
What is that like for you?
It's bloody hard. It's really hard. I mean, it looks all fun and games online, and I don't know, a lot of things. I mean, when I was younger, I wanted to be Samantha Jones from Sex and the City. I wanted to be this sick PR woman who, like, you know, was all flashy and dealt with celebrities and all this stuff. And then I started working in PR, and it was like healthcare PR, and I was like, right, this is not like Samantha Jones, okay? It didn't work out. And do you know what, the reality is very different from what we see on TV and whatever. And even with presenting, you know, it's when I decided to leave my office job and just kind of chase my dreams, I never thought it was going to be this hard. And I knew it was going to be hard, but, you know, mentally, in terms of actually my personal journey, it's very difficult because I suffer with anxiety, and I'm a very happy person. I love life. I'm very positive, and I like to try and instill that into others. But inside, I get very nervous about things, and I think I've always been that way. When I was younger at school, you know, when I had exams, I would freak out, I'd get ill, I'd get, you know, with stomach cramps, headaches, and it would really, really, really mess me up. And then I think now that's kind of just relayed into my adult life and in my career, because it's the whole thing of like, it's not certain. This thing that I'm trying to do isn't certain.
Okay.
It's, you know, it's not like you're in a stable job. I don't know when my next paycheck's coming in. I don't know if it's going to pay off. I don't know if I'm good enough. And it creates this thing inside me that's just nervous a lot of the time. So I've had to deal with that and just kind of suppress those feelings. I haven't been very good at dealing with it or trying to make me less anxious about things, which I need to, but I found little ways to help, I think.
Okay, so you kind of mentioned that it started from when you were younger and it kind of continued within your adult lifestyle now. How is it impacting you within that media and entertainment industry? So when you're doing your interviews?
Yeah, I mean, it's really, it's practice helps. Yeah. I feel like I'm a lot less nervous than I was a few years ago when I started, but I mean, still, like, if I have a big interview, I get really anxious about it. And I think it's also being a perfectionist. Like, I want it to be perfect and I want it to be good and whatever. So that kind of pressure. But I think as well, being kind of in the spotlight and people following you. I mean, it's quite new for me. I've never had like a lot of followers. It's kind of increased a lot in the past 6 months to a year, and it's a scary thing because, you know, people are watching you and I'd never describe myself as an influencer, but you are influencing people. And so you constantly have this pressure. Well, I find I have a pressure to only promote things that are going to make people's lives better and positive. But then there's also this pressure to be like perfect the whole time. And I think, I mean, I've always been a very big advocate for women to be happy in their natural selves, and that's what I try to promote in myself, and that it's not, you know, you're not going to look perfect all the time, and I don't really give a shit what people think of, you know, not looking a certain way. I just want to instill that onto other people, but it's just a lot of pressure to succeed all the time, and like I mentioned before, it's about like seeing other people doing really well, which is incredible, but it also makes you feel like, oh gosh, I need to be doing that too. And when you're not doing that, it's like, oh my God, I'm not working hard enough. And for me, my whole like adult career, like trying to make this stuff happen, I just haven't stopped. It's just been go the whole time. If I have a day off, it stresses me out. I feel like I need to be doing something. You know, if I don't get a job, I'm not good at taking that bit of like failure, even though I know that like each bit of failure is a stepping stone towards success, because it's just you're learning stuff. But it creates an anxiety because it's not certain for me this is going to work out. And yeah, I just get stressed about it a lot. So it's hard.
So that must be difficult, especially being in that industry and kind of having that pressure on you, and you know, you feel like you need to do this, you need to portray a certain image. You mentioned that you've been trying to manage it. You have little techniques that you use to help manage your anxiety. What are those techniques that you've been trying to use, which has helped you?
I've recently come into meditation.
Okay, oh wow.
I didn't ever really consider it before. I don't know, it just never really was in my circle of people, or you know, I wasn't really aware of it. But it's come to my attention now, and I've hosted a few meditation events, and it's been really interesting. It's made me realise that I need to do a lot more to switch off my thoughts. Because I find it really hard to just switch off. And the thing is, I don't want to be on my phone. I don't want to be on social media. I don't even want to do Instagram, but it comes with the job.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's that kind of, that buzzing, it's just, your mind is just always going. And so meditation has helped me, even if it's just like maybe a couple of minutes a day of just trying to like quiet my mind and focus on my breathing. That helps me, that calms me down. For one, that's one of the things I've done that's helped. Two, just surrounding myself with people who 100% believe in me and support me, and I don't have any negativity around me. So you know, having that constant thing of, Nush, you're sick, you can do it, that really helps me, because I've struggled with self-belief, and I still do today. Like, there's parts of me that I'm like, oh, I'm not good enough, why am I even doing this? But it's about the people you surround yourself with who then push you forward and make you feel self-confident. So that's really important for me, that I wouldn't have been able to get to where I am without those people, so that's really important. And then also taking time for myself. So the last few years, I've just had blinkers on, and I've just been go, doing every job under the sun, trying to make money, you know, trying to survive, having to move out and having to support myself on being a freelancer. It's been really stressful, and I've only just thought, right, the only thing that's going to make me happy is my career and work and succeeding and getting to that point, and it's actually not. And I need to actually, the problem is because we live in this society that's so fast-paced in London, we just focus on the end goals, and you don't realize how far you've come from one. And when you're in it, you just don't appreciate the journey. Like a few years have gone past, and I'm like, where have they gone? And it's only been recently that I've started to sit back and actually enjoy the day to day and the journey towards getting there. So it's made me realize how important it is to take that time away from work to do things that you love, whether that's spending time with friends, or, you know, I like to go to salsa classes, because that's, again, in the present, like, you are completely, for an hour and a half, you're completely in that moment, focused on what you're doing, rather than with your thoughts. Or going to the gym to do classes, not to go on the treadmill because I can't do that. Or having a massage, or just whatever it might be, just things that take you away from that constant flow of work thoughts, or just trying to get it the whole time, you know. And in the future, I'd like to, I do want to take on some therapy. I'd love to, 100%. I think, honestly, I feel like we should all do therapy, really. You know, for me, it was just like, as soon as I can afford a therapist, I'm going to do it, because, like, my friends can't listen to any more shit. And also, I just think it's good to talk about your emotions. I think it's important to open up. It helps you process how you're feeling about things, and help you move forward.
Yeah, definitely. And you mentioned about the management techniques that you use, and that's amazing, you know, taking care for yourself and kind of taking yourself out of that moment and kind of out of the busyness of the world and what goes on, and having some time for yourself. That's really, really important. So that's amazing. I would say keep that up and continue to do that. Also, you mentioned about in the future about wanting to seek therapy or treatment. Do you know anyone who's seek therapy and treatment before?
The majority of my friends, actually. I mean, I've got some friends who have unfortunately been through some quite traumatic things in their life, and originally when they took on therapy, they didn't enjoy it, and they thought it wasn't helping, it was making it worse. But then actually when they found the right person, it has really helped them. Another friend of mine has done it, you know, for her entire adult life, and she never really had any like problems, like major things that happened, but just things that kind of made her more aware about herself, and she swears by it. Everyone who's done it is benefited massively from it, so I totally am an advocate for it. Just need to save up some money.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's good that you're thinking into the future and kind of wanting to kind of help yourself better. So now we have some questions. I have some more questions for you. How can someone be supportive of a loved one who is experiencing something similar to yourself?
It's just reassurance, I think. What I really appreciate when I go to my friends and family with what I'm struggling with is just the reassurance that it's going to be okay. And that this feeling doesn't last forever. And that even if it all goes tits up, I still have these people around me, and that's the main thing, I think. But I mean, everyone's got different priorities in life, and mine definitely is having these amazing people around me that, you know, I feel like life is built on relationships, really, and I just feel like what does it really matter? Like, money doesn't mean shit. Career, success, what is all that stuff, really, you know? So it's about having that support system around you, and opening up, just opening up to whoever it might be, and realizing that you're sick.
Yeah.
Realizing that you're fucking sick and that you know, are either chasing your dreams or you're working hard, or just take yourself away from you for a second and look down on you and see what you've accomplished and
really good, I
see,
like
you know, how much of a good person you are, or what you do for your friends and family. And it just makes you realize that it's going to be all right. It's just taking that time to realize that, I think.
And it's okay not to be okay.
Exactly, I say that all the time. What is it? Is that a song? It's like, it's okay not to be okay.
Who sings that song? I don't know.
There is a song that
I've heard
goes
it's okay. I don't know who sings it.
I'll come back to you.
We could get back to that one.
Yeah.
You mentioned about coping.
Yeah. Well, Cope is my last name, so
works hand in hand. How do you deal with the stigma attached to mental health?
How do I deal with the stigma? I don't really. I think that's the problem. I don't really. I mean, there is a stigma around it, and I've always seen that, but I've never done anything about it. I've never just gone, do you know what, F it, and opened up, which is what people should do. I think, you know, I think we shouldn't be afraid to talk about how we feel, because how I feel, you can't judge anyone for feeling the way they feel.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, you feel that way because of your personal experiences that no one else can relate to, really, because they haven't been in your position. So even if I speak out about it, I need to take my own advice, just thinking about it. If I speak out about it and then someone says, well, no, you know, you're being silly, or, you know, like, who are you? Like, you don't know what I've been through or anything like that. So I think we need, I mean, as much as, you know, you have to be sensitive about what you say, because you don't want to offend anyone, you know, how you feel is how you feel, and what can anyone say to battle you on that? Like, okay, so I suffer from anxiety and stress and worry, and you know, everyone has insecurities, everyone's got their own stuff. That's my stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how I feel. So I don't know what else you want me to do, mate. That's just me.
And it's so common as well. Mental health is so common, and a lot of people think that, you know, they're the only one struggling, or they're the only one with this difficulty. But it's so common.
It's so common. Yeah, I found I went away over New Year. I took a secret holiday where, you know, I got my friend to post on my Instagram for me while I went, and I just had 2 weeks away. From everything, and it was incredible. It was the best thing I've done in a long time, and I didn't have my phone. In fact, when I had to get my phone back, I was annoyed, and I didn't want it. But that really helped me kind of calm my mind, and also made me realise that there's more to life than work. Because I've just constantly been like, right, work. You know, I've got to make it, got to be successful, got to get to this level by this time, by this day, or whatever, and actually it made me go, there's so much more to life than that. And, you know, I want a family one day, and I want to enjoy the journey rather than just be this stress head that wants to get it done right now. Like, why we always want everything so quick, we want it to happen now, like, but then I'm thinking, okay, so what happens when it happens, and then what? Like, just chill out and enjoy yourself.
Enjoy the moment as it comes.
Enjoy the moment as it comes,
Oh, that sounds amazing.
It was amazing. Honestly, I recommend it so much. Like, just taking that time away from your phone to just live, just to completely be in the moment, live your life, and be happy.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
It's a really good idea.
Definitely, especially with, you know, with today's society and today's culture, we're always on our phone. You know, we're always on the go. If it's not Snapchat, it's Instagram or Facebook. So we're constantly head down on our phone. So to have that time, you know, away from your phone, in a lovely country, focusing on your mind, on yourself, amazing.
Yeah, and I came back with a whole different perspective of life, and it was incredible. But yeah, definitely feeling more sure about which way I want to go, and more chilled out about the whole thing now than I was.
Good. Yeah. And touching on when you said about this perspective of life, how did that change your way of thinking when you came back from the holiday?
It made me made me realise that everyone in London is stressed. It made me realise that there are people out there who have virtually nothing and are so happy. And it just made me realise, I mean, I kind of already knew this, but money, status, material things, don't mean shit. That doesn't make you happy. You know, it's the relationships, like I said. It's how you feel in yourself, and just doing things that make you happy on a day-to-day basis. So it's good to take that time out. Yeah, definitely.
And lastly, what would be your top tips of looking after your mental well-being?
Top tips. Trying to achieve a good work-life balance, for one. So doing the things that make you happy. Whether that's taking an extra hour sleep, or going to the gym, or going to a class. I want to try pole dance fitness.
Oh, wow.
That's what I want to try out. That sounds really fun.
Sounds amazing.
Something different, yeah. Cooking. Doing something that allows you to be in the moment and be present, focusing all your energy onto something. So that's definitely one, having that kind of balance there. Two would be to not get fixated on the online stuff, so the social media. It doesn't mean shit. It doesn't mean anything. It's just fluff. It's a highlight reel. It's fluff. And if you can disconnect from that, for me, I know that I'm not addicted to it. And I did this really interesting talk about music and mental health last year, and there was this therapist who was talking about how we all suffer from some form of addiction, whether that's we fill that with alcohol or drugs or codependence or anything. And I realised that I'm actually quite codependent, but that's a whole other issue that we're not going to get into. And it's about filling that hole with something. And I can't remember where I was going with my point here, but it was a very good point. I think it was that it's completely gone. I had this whole
You lost
thing.
it.
I fully lost it. Like, honestly, this was going to be a really good story.
It might come back.
It might come back.
Any more tips?
Any more tips? Okay, I remember. Social media. Okay. Not getting too invested in it. Addiction.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so a lot of people are addicted to social media.
Oh, yes.
So in order to test this, I'd say trying to go a bit of time without it and see how you get on. For me, going away and not having it, it was amazing. I couldn't wait to get rid of my phone. So that was a good test. It made me realise that, yes, it's an important part of my daily life, but actually I can disconnect from it like that. So as much as I do, I get a little notification now that says, you spend 1 hour on Instagram. And I'm like, oh,
you get that now, don't you, on the iPhone? It
yeah.
kind of tells you, yeah.
It's really good. It's really good. But then I'm also like, oh, how have I spent an hour on this stupid app? But anyway, so disconnecting. So taking, at least some, maybe a day a week away from it. Or what helps me is actually not being on my phone just before bed. Whether that's reading a little bit beforehand, but being on your phone right up until you go to sleep, whether that's on social media or whatever, your mind just can't switch off, and you see things that, do you know what, as well, in the mornings, when you wake up, the first thing you do is you go on Instagram, which is terrible, because sometimes I'll see something that makes me feel like I'm not where I want to be, so I'll see someone do something that I'm like, oh, damn, I should be doing that. And that's just ruined my whole day. I see that in the morning and that's it. That's the only thing I can think about. What am I doing? That's not not
a good way to wake up.
Terrible. So trying to, really get that balance, the phone kind of away, as much as possible. So that's two. Sorry. Got to my point in the end. And then number three, a third tip for managing anxiety, taking time away from your phone and exercise. I know it's kind of part of my number one, but I realised last year I started training and it made me feel so good about myself.
Yeah, exercise is good.
Like, not even for the way I look, because I'm the type of person, that if I train non-stop, hardcore, or if I don't, or if I eat like rabbit food, or if I eat McDonald's for a month, I stay the same. I'm not one of those people that goes up and down.
Okay.
So I just look the same the entire time. Like, I might be a bit more jiggly here and there, but generally I'm the same. So for me, it's not even about what I look like. It's a mental health thing. It's feeling healthy in myself. It's feeling like I can walk up the tube stairs without dying. And that helps me in my day-to-day life when I'm speaking to people, or you feel a lot more alive and less sluggish. And that helps me not get so worried about things, because I feel better in myself. So yeah, those are my things.
Amazing. Thank you for those tips, and thank you for coming today. You know, you're going to be inspiring so many people. You know, so brave for you to come and talk about your difficulty. So thank you. I really appreciate it, and all the best. But before we go, where could we find you on social media?
So you can find me at Nush Cope everywhere. Nush, like mush, like bush, but Nush. And yeah, I'm mainly on Instagram, and I try and reply to as many people as I can. So if you have any questions, feel free to send me a message.
Or you're going to get lots of questions now.
Yeah, well, bring it on. I hope, you know, if we can open the conversation and reach out to more people, then let's do it, because you need to talk about these things. Otherwise, you're just going to be bottled up and alone. So
amazing.
Get out of your cocoon.
Great.
Come, talk to us.
Talk to her.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming. Thank you. I really appreciate it.